Hello, 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 and welcome back for the final time for my Star Trek Discovery review. It's a Thursday. We just got the final episode of Discovery, Season 5, Episode 10. And I literally just finished it. And I haven't had the chance to properly wrap my head around the fact that it's over. You know, in most of my Discovery reviews, I have always said that I am a Discovery apologist. I have loved the show since day one, and uh, it's done rather too soon in my opinion. I would have loved Discovery to have gone for the full 7 seasons, because to me, I love the show. I think it's a great show. Does it deserve all the hate that it gets? No, absolutely not. Do I get their criticism for certain aspects of the show? Absolutely. But with that being said, let's get into my review for the final episode of Star Trek Discovery. So the episode picks up with Burnham in the progenitor tech area. She's walking around. She's trying to communicate outside to see if she can. She's trying to scan for life signs. There's none. As she's walking, she ends up getting flung into this area with heavy storms. She sees one dead Breen, which at least we now know what happened to him. And then she gets attacked by another Breen. And eventually it ends up with her going back up top to where she was. And that's when Maul appears and kills the Breen. And turns out Maul is badly injured because the Breen that we saw that was dead, well, she's the one who killed it. And so they try to come up with a Burnham and Maul come to this little truce for a moment whilst they go walkabouts, to try and get to where they need to be, because Maul, her main purpose of being there is to bring back Locke. And so they walk for a little while. Then they figure out that, well, then they get into a kerfuffle. Burnham is trying to, starts the fight, and it's a goofy fight. It's a goofy ass fight in certain aspects. When it goes to like the CG of them flying around, it looks goofy as fuck. It doesn't look great. I'm not gonna lie, and that's my main issue this season. The fight scenes usually, the hand to hand fight scenes don't look great. The same. I said the same thing when they're on the ISS Enterprise, and even after that, the next episode after that, when it's that close quarter fight in sickbay, I just did not like that. Um, so then, eventually they stop fighting. They figure out how to perceive the platform. They go there to the center as they're talking, and then this column appears with a bunch of triangles, and they try to, Burnham explains that the passphrase that she learned from the last clue that they done, and then Maul swiftly knocks her out because she obviously wants to use it to bring Locke back to life. Um, but she does it wrong, and it nearly kills her. It does. It nearly kills her. And if it wasn't for Book being able to contact her, it probably would have killed Maul. But I'll get to that outside bit now in a second. So Burnham takes her off the yoke and then figures out the issue, and then she gets transported to this other area, and that's where we meet a progenitor, and so they go off and talk. So whilst all this is happening, in this pocket dimension thing, Discovery is not having the best of times. They're trying to get there to, activate a tractor beam to bring the progenitor tech in, so that way the Breen dreadnought doesn't get it. The Breen then send out like 40 fighters, and it's not going well for them until they decide to actually send a shuttle, and on that shuttle is Book and Hugh. And so they eventually get there, and they're trying to tractor, get the portal in a tractor beam. That's not working until Hugh, who had the feeling that he needed to be there, gets this feeling where he knows how to actually get a lock on it, and And then we learn later on that it's because of Janal. That potentially Janal left that memory imprint in Hugh, so that way when it gets to that point, which was the same issue that the scientists were having back 800 years ago, when they were trying to build the container around it, and so they basically just have to sit there and wait for Discovery to get there, because Discovery led the dreadnoughts into this ion storm type of thing. I probably misremembered that. And so then they fire a torpedo and they wipe out all 40 ships that the dreadnought had sent. But in that time, the dreadnought has gained enough power. So again, whilst that's happening, I'm jumping around here because that's literally what this whole episode has been about. We go back to Saru and in Starbase, where we see Admiral Vance again, and he's like, "Look, I don't agree with you going there with your weapons disabled, because Tahal could easily just see you and like, boom, blip gone, and continue on." But Saru's like, "No, no, I know what I'm doing," and Nom reappears again, which I'm happy about. I'm happy that we got to see Nom again because I do like Nom. And I was happy that we got to see her early on this season, considering that this is the end. And so they go off in the shuttle using the Pathfinder drive or Pathway drive, whatever the fuck it's called. And so they catch up to Tahal, and Saru contacts her and says, "Look, if you disengage, we'll get this trade route set up for you in this sector." And Tahal's like, "Ha, no." And so they continue on because they've got an hour to get there, and eventually they get the shuttle with Saru and Nom in it gets a message saying, "Look, if you don't fuck off in the next 30 seconds, we're gonna blow you up." And that's when Saru's like, "You fell into my trap. You see, I have been 10 steps ahead of you this entire time. I laid a trap with the phrasing of words that I said, so I now know where your secret base is. And I have, I've been going to visiting a whole bunch of worlds that are near that area, and I have ordered them to go and fucking blow your shit up. Which, if they manage to do that, that means you're gonna have not as much of an army and not a much stake to the throne, unless you fuck off, And so Tahal's like, "I see what you did there, Scaly Man. I will do that." And so they leave, but they send a scout, and that's when they come up with a plan. Discovery comes up with a plan to basically use the spore drive to move the dreadnought into the edge of the galaxy. Calling back to Star Trek Five, essentially with that one. And so it entails having a saucer separation, which is good because I think the last time we seen a saucer separation in effect was when the Enterprise D was destroyed in Star Trek Generations. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And so it happens. They use it as a pole, the saucer, and the star drive to be able to spore jump the dreadnought plus the scout ship to the edge of the galaxy. It'll take him several years to get back, but it's the best that Rayner could come up with. And so, as all that's happening, Burnham is talking with one of the progenitors, and she's supposed to become this new steward of this tech. And it turns out the progenitors actually did not create this. No. There was somebody else who created it, and the progenitors just found it, and they went out and brought life. Because there's all these different terrains that we got to see throughout the fight between Burnham and Maul. And so Burnham's like, "Could this be used to bring somebody back to life?" And the progenitor's like, "Yes and no. Yes, it can be used to bring someone back to life. However, what made them isn't going to be there." And so Burnham's like, "Okay, but whilst my people are in, in danger, I kind of want to be there. I kind of don't want to do this now." And the progenitor's like, "Okay, bet." And sends her back, and so she picks up Maul, and Maul's like, "Oh, can Locke be saved?" And Burnham's like, "No, I'm sorry, nothing in here can do that." And apparently that just sunk in, and that was that. I would have, that's kind of been Maul's MO. I thought she would have at least tried fucking something, but then again, she's probably just too weak near death to actually put up a fight. And so eventually they manage to, Buck and Hugh beam them out, and so they go back to Discovery, and that's when, prior to leaving, Burnham got, a glimpse of the past 40 billion years. That, all the little events that led up to her being there. I know some people are going to have an issue with that because that's going to seem that Burnham was always destined to be there. That's not the way I took it. I just took it that, the whole world is full of possibilities. You could do something that leads you to this point, or you could do something else that leads you to another point. So it just so happens that all these little things had to be in alignment for Burnham to be born, to be sent into the 32nd century, to then deal with this. And so back on, Discovery, she decides we don't need this technology. We're fine just without it. So let's just destroy it so that way no one gets their hands on it. How do I feel about that? I think it's a smart move. I do. I think it was the smartest move because otherwise the Federation is just going to have this big, strong technology, and if word leaked out to other species like Andorians, Tellar, Talaxian, Orion, they could go and try to get it, and then that's just one giant headache for the Federation because that could bring into like this big, massive war, which they don't need. So Burnham, I do think, was right in destroying it. So then we now jump back to Fed HQ, and we get a scene with Burnham and Kovich, which I wrote down some things, some notes, at this point because I came into this room and my copybook was here. Um, and there's a few things that I need to mention about Burnham's meeting with Kovich. So I know I just basically spoiled the whole part of this, the whole episode. But if you really haven't seen this, this is a big reveal, and I did not see it coming. So Burnham goes to Kovich because Kovich wanted to see her, as well as apparently Kovich wants to see Maul as well, at some point. And so, Burnham hands him back this infinity symbol that goes into the this white void room. And so, he's like, okay, so this red directive is now done. It's gone. Um, we will. Everything's going to be classified. And I was like, I kind of gathered that. And then it pans around Kovich's room, and we see a vintage bottle of Chateau Picard. We also see Geordie's visor, and I think there's a few other things, but that's all I could remember to write without actually going back. And then Burnham's like, I don't think your name is Kovich. I think that's another red directive. And he's like, so what is your name? That's a red directive. And so Burnham's like, okay. She stands up, extends her hand and says, Captain Burnham, USS Discovery. And Kovich shakes her hand and reveals that it's Daniels, USS Enterprise. What? That that came out of left field for me. I did not see that coming. I did not think Kovich would be Daniels. I didn't think Daniels would be in the 32nd century. 30th century, absolutely. But 32nd century? Wild. That I did not see coming. That I really did not see coming. And so then we flash forward to the, wedding for, Saru and the Vulcan, person that he's marrying. I forget her name, T'Pring, something like that. Anyway, so then Book shows up finally, and his sentence has been is done. He no longer has to atone for what he did in season 4, and that's when Burnham and Book go and talk for a bit, and they finally, Burnham says, "Look, I never stopped loving you," and they go and start that relationship. And then we fast forward again into the future, and we see an old Burnham, an old Book in this house, and apparently Admiral Burnham, is having to do this, mission, and so a shuttle arrives, and it turns out it's her son who's now a captain. So that's neat. And so they have to go off to this place. They go back to Fed HQ, and the ship that they are going to see for the one final mission is Discovery. Also, before I continue on, I do like the Admiral's uniform that they used here. It's very reminiscent of the maroon armor from the, Rathacon to the Undiscovered Country has a little reminder of that for me. I do like it. However, the new uniform for the captain, I don't like. I don't like that the pips are in the middle here. That did not sit well with me. And so yeah, we see it's Discovery. However, things are being done to Discovery. Interesting things. An unrefit is happening. Yes, it seems Discovery is being restored back to our 23rd century exterior and interior. Because they finally give us a ending for Calypso of sorts. You know, it's another red directed mission, something about a craft, and so Burnham is the only one on it. And so they go. Discovery is leaving dry dock, and immediately jumps to where it needs to be, and then that is that. That, ladies and gentlemen, has been Star Trek Discovery. So I like the episode. I still have issues with the season. And that main issue is Maul and Locke serve no real purpose for the entire season. By the way, I'm just soft mints just in case you're wondering what I'm putting in my mouth. So, yeah. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's something I've been saying since the very beginning. Take Maul and Locke out of this season, we still end up where we are. We do. Just without the hassle with the Breen and all that shit. I don't like Maul and I don't like Locke. I'm glad Locke stayed dead. I really do. I did not like Bubblegum. I really did not like Locke. Or Maul, for that matter. But yeah. It's done. It's done. So that is actually going to wrap up my review because I have an emergency dentist appointment to go to. I would have tacked on more to this, but I'm actually starting to feel pain from talking too much. So that has been my review for Star Trek Discovery. Let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comments down below, and I shall see you tomorrow as we wrap up Trilogy Month. I'll see you all next time.